Come one, come all, to the dystopian lottery. You have two options here. On the left, you get to be a not-so-human kid raised in a creepy-ass academy by a bunch of robots and some geezer that moves like Orochimaru. On the right, you gotta fend for yourself in a lawless, broken world that's inhabited by man-eating monsters that will give you the most painful death possible if you come anywhere near them. Oh, you gotta compete with other desperate humans too. Sounds like fun, right? Well, fortunately in Heavenly Delusion, you get a glimpse of both, so you can decide for yourself. Spoilers, neither side is that fun, like at all. So if you can't handle messed up things in general, from mass manipulation and murder to stuff like SA, then the show is definitely not for you. Just wanted to give a warning because this show is brutal. Today I'm going to be talking about Production I.G's newest sci-fi thriller, Heavenly Delusion. The show got a lot of hype before airing, not because of the manga it was based off of, but because of the staff working on it. There were a lot of industry veterans and legends rumored to have worked on Heavenly Delusion, and I can happily say that the quality of this anime lives up to the hype. It had me on the edge of my seat for the entire run, and I was thoroughly impressed with how amazingly built up the world was, along with how beautiful the staff managed to make such a messed up world look. Heavenly Delusion takes place in Japan 15 years after a giant calamity completely destroyed the world we know. Throughout the show, we get to see the two different perspectives of people living in this current world. One perspective comes from children that live inside of a so-called academy that's referred to as heaven, that they've been cooped up in their whole lives. They've never seen what the real world looks like, and as far as they know, the academy is the world. In this academy, the children are special to say the least. They've all got different things they're especially gifted at, and they all seem to be superhuman when it comes to durability and powers, although no one knows that except for the adults that run this academy. The main character of this side of Heavenly Delusion is a girl named Tokio, who's beginning to question what's going on around her. She has other friends within the academy who are also curious about whether or not there's a world outside of the academy, and they all begin to develop curiosity both about their bodies and the world. The adults of the academy are overseeing all of this and note how the students are beginning to learn about romance and sit back and watch their development for most of the show. Tokio is also curious about where she is in the first place and eventually breaks into an area within the academy that has incubators holding babies. It turns out that the babies are little man-eaters themselves, which are the main supernatural force of the show, although Tokio doesn't know this and believes that all normal babies look like this. But what is a man-eater? This is where we switch to the other perspective of the show, coming from two characters who are trying to make it to a place called heaven. No, they don't want to unalive themselves. They're actually looking for a settlement in this hellish wasteland called heaven. This wasteland has a lack of food, drinking water, basically anything we take for granted these days. The names of these main characters are Maru and Kiruko, and they've both got quite the story behind them. Kiruko's introduced as Maru's bodyguard as he's trying to reach heaven, although she's the main character of this side of the anime. Kiruko was the Earnhardt of go-kart driving shortly after the calamity happened and stuff was still semi-normal. Back then, she went by the name of Kiruko Takehaya and was known for her Tokyo drifting. Things all went to shit for her when her younger brother, a wee lad named Haruki, stumbled across a man-eater during one of her races, and before he knew it, he was inside the body of his sister. Man-eaters are supernatural creatures that started appearing after the calamity, and it's believed that they hold the souls of past humans. They all have special abilities depending on the man-eater, and they all look like fucked up animals with cool looking eyes. Their abilities range from going invisible to freezing everything. Basically, they're forces of nature that prey upon people and grow stronger after eating them. With the world being in complete disarray, no one really has a chance against these man-eaters, and there's a lot of gruesome deaths that happen throughout Heavenly Delusion due to these horrifying creatures. And when I say horrifying, I mean horrifying. The way they're portrayed is utterly terrifying since they seem like creatures from another planet, and we know that the average person doesn't stand a chance against them at all. Good thing Maru isn't average though, since he has a special ability that allows him to reach inside of a man-eater and crush their heart. He also has superhuman strength and durability, and well, it doesn't really take a genius to connect the dots. Most of the story revolves around Maru and Kiruko, who's coming to grips with the fact that he's a woman now. On top of this, before changing bodies, your boy was a good old ciscon. Why do you keep doing this, Japan? Which makes him even more conflicted since he's in the body of the woman he loves. Man, that felt icky to say. Maru also has a crush on Kiruko as well, despite calling her big sister all the time. Their interactions also feel very sibling-like, and they banter and make fun of each other a lot, which is nice to see until there's a randomly horny moment with Maru. It's why? It's a little weird, I can't lie, but I can't say I hate their relationship. Plus, as the show progresses, Maru keeps talking more and more about how romantically interested he is in Kiruko, despite her having the mind of Haruki. Kiruko is an interesting character to say the least, and the hell she has to go through just for what happens at the end of the season is simply tragic. I don't want to delve into spoilers, but along with protecting Maru so he can find heaven, Kiruko's also looking for a doctor who's known for doing human experimentation, and an older brother-like figure named Robin, whose voice is played by Zoro. Wait, no, wrong Robin. Through Maru and Kiruko's journey, we also come to find other small settlements of people and the traumatic stories they've been through. From a cult that proposes abandoning humans run by a guy who's just exploiting everyone's delusion, to a man who is used as a breeding pig for a society run by women, although given what happens to him, Lord knows if that's even entirely true. Through these encounters, we get to see what kind of people survive in lawless lands like this and how frail the human mind is. We also get to see how truly kind people can be during these times, along with how desperate they can get and how they can throw their own under the bus just for risk. Maru and Kiruko also see how much of a beating the human mind can take and how years of that can lead to a tragedy. It's soul crushing, just like this plebe. relief from me asking you to like and subscribe. Don't worry, I'm not some weird dystopian enthusiast, at least not yet. As for the Academy, the identity of what the children are exactly remains a mystery for most of the show. Heavenly Delusion does a wonderful job of building up where these children came from, how they've been studied, and what the goal with them even is. They seemingly live a somewhat normal life by their standards, but there's always something silently shady going on in the background. I can't really say much else as I don't want to ruin the mystery of the Academy, and a lot of the entertainment from this side of Heavenly Delusion is Tokyo slowly piecing everything together. Let's get to the best part of Heavenly Delusion, which is the adaptation itself and how high quality it is. Production I.G is already known for doing sci-fi series justice after their masterclass with Psycho-Pass, and it's nice to see they've cooked once again with Heavenly Delusion. The anime is directed by Hirotaka Mori, who's done work on Psycho-Pass and Haikyuu, although this seems to be his directorial debut. Compositing is handled by Kentaro Waki, who's an absolute legend who is one of the main reasons Sword Art Online looks as good as it does. His work, paired with background art from the incredibly talented Yuji Kaneko, results in Heavenly Delusion looking simply stunning. Landscape shots are breathtaking, and they really made the wasteland that resulted from the calamity look beautiful in its own way. When it comes to animation itself, Heavenly Delusion is plenty stacked in that department too, with major work being done by Kai Ikarashi, who directed a whole episode. There's also Kai Shibata, Wayland Zhang, Tetsuya Takeuchi. I mean, this show is seriously stacked. The episode directed by Kai Ikarashi was the standout episode for me this season, and I was pleased to see how trigger-like it was. Music's handled by Kensuke Ushio, who's riding high after his great work on Chainsaw Man. When I say the production is something special, I truly mean it. If you're looking for a gripping sci-fi anime in an incredibly well built up world filled with mysteries that are being uncovered one by one, then definitely check out Heavenly Delusion. After seeing how the first season left off, I can't wait for season 2. If y'all decide to check it out, let me know down below. If you have any anime or manga recommendations for me, let me know and I'll check them out. Have a heavenly day. Man, that was bad.